What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? We doing pretty good over here. Hope y'all are doing well. I hope everything is going just fine. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on. I was going to cover a story today talking about Congressman Tom Emmer being the nominee. He got nominated to go to the House floor to vote for Speaker of the House. And then all of a sudden, I was coming out here to record this video, and I reopened my news app, and I look, and bam, here's this story. So I haven't read it yet. We're gonna read this out. So it's breaking news. But before we get into that news, I just want to say, don't forget, y'all. Reach down below, look right down there, and hit that like button, smash it, knock it out, do whatever the hell you gotta do to tap that like and say, hey, I like this video. And as always, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this upcoming story. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. I'm not going to dilly-dally around. Let's hit it. Tom Emmer drops out of Speaker race, which, like I said, I was going to cover that he was just nominated for Speaker. That was the story I read from this morning, that there was a closed-door session, and they went ahead and voted for him. He got like 117 votes or something like that, and he was going to go ahead and go to the House floor and vote for Speaker of the House. All of a sudden, he drops out for some reason, but we're going to find out why right here. Let's get into it. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer dropped out of the Speaker's race Tuesday, just hours after the conference nominated the Minnesota Republican for the top job, according to a source familiar. Emmer withdrew his name from the running after a contingent of Republicans made clear they would not back him on the House floor, making it virtually impossible for him to secure enough votes to win the gavel. That's right, and I'm going to assume that was the Freedom Caucus doing that, because I've been covering congressional hearings for a while. I've seen a lot of committee hearings, all different committees, from judiciary to intelligence to appropriations, ways and means, pretty much all of them that get publicized. I've watched them, and I have no idea who Tom Emmer is. I've never heard his name before, so he is not very popular. Like I said, I didn't know who he was, so I don't know anything about this guy at all. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we can't be sure of anything right now because we can't get Republicans to agree on anything. However, on the Democrat side, we all know who they want to be Speaker of the House. Hakeem Jeffries. You will get every single Democrat to vote for Hakeem Jeffries, but we can't get even half of the Republicans to vote for a damn speaker. This is just crazy, y'all. I don't know what in the hell there is going on, but we have that much distrust in our system, and now that they're going through all this, people's confidence in Congress to do its damn job is waning, and waning pretty bad, I must say, because I'd like to get somebody in there who's, like I said yesterday, is willing to stand up and say no or say yes whenever it's morally correct to do so. Say no to these omnibus spending packages, things like that. See, stuff where you see corruption and you see people just being selfish and just acting in a selfish manner and only doing things to further their political career instead of doing things that will further the livelihoods of their constituents. We need to get rid of that. And obviously, there's a lot of people in Congress right now that see a lot of that swamp monster going on. And they're like, no, we got to put a stop to this. And I'm 100% behind that. And I believe most of America, if they know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, would be right behind that. Right there with me, right there with everybody else. Regardless if you're, left-leaning, right-leaning, in the center, we can all agree that corruption needs to say bye-bye from Congress and get the hell out of there, because we've had way too much corruption for way too long, and the DC swamp monster needs to go bye-bye. But let's keep going. It also came after former President Trump released a scathing statement calling Emmer a rhino and saying voting for him would be a tragic mistake. Well, there we go. Emmer won the GOP nomination over House GOP Vice Chair Mike Johnson from Louisiana. In a secret ballot, 117 to 97, but in a secondary roll call vote, 26 Republicans voted present or for another person, according to House GOP Conference Secretary Lisa McClain. If all members vote present and for a specific candidate, Emmer could only afford to lose 4 Republicans and still win the speakership on the House floor. Republicans are now talking about next steps. He's got a standing ovation, Rep. Lance Gooden said of Emmer, and so now we're moving on to the next phase. Emmer is the third GOP speaker nominee to fall short of the gavel in the past 3 weeks. The conference voted to drop Judiciary Chair member Jim Jordan as its nominee last week following 3 failed attempts to win the gavel on the House floor. Before that, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise withdrew his name from the running amid staunch opposition from Jordan supporters. News of Emmer dropping out from the race will catapult the House GOP conference back to square one again as they restart a search for a new speaker following Rep. Kevin McCarthy's ouster from the post. Tuesday marked exactly 3 weeks since 8 Republicans and Democrats voted to boot McCarthy from the speakership. And rightly so. Like I've said, McCarthy made some promises to the Freedom Caucus that he did not fulfill. And it's only right of them to go ahead and follow through with what they said they would do if he violated their trust and oust him as Speaker of the House. You know, you shouldn't put your trust in a politician. That's all I'm going to say. But as a politician, what else are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? You gotta talk with these people. You gotta work stuff out. You gotta negotiate. But all Kevin McCarthy had to do was break up all those spending packages, those damn omnibus packages. All he had to do was separate them. And then he would still be in there. He would still be Speaker of the House. And we wouldn't be going through this. That's a simple task. You're eliminating a form of corruption. Like I said, I've covered Congress for a while now. And those omnibus packages where they just lump all these appropriations bills together and just vote on them all at once, people don't have time to read what's in these bills. That's the big issue. So you can have 10 members of Congress write all these bills up and have a bunch of junk in there, pork, pet projects, stuff for their own personal district to further their political career, stuff like that, like Nancy Pelosi had a statue built. They have these little monuments, or they'll have a park built in their district. Just stupid crap like that. Or, like I've said before, gender studies in Pakistan. I mean, what good is that? What genius thought that's a great idea? Let's send money to Pakistan. I believe it was like $10 million for gender studies. What good is that going to do? How would you explain that to a taxpayer? Let me know down in the comments. If you was a congressman and one of your constituents said, "Why are you sending my money to Pakistan for gender studies?" How would you explain that to them? They can't. So that's why they write these bills up like that. So nobody knows, because who the hell is going to spend 72 hours reading 5,000 or 6,000 pages of boring crap, right? I mean, who's going to do that? So there's your corruption. And hopefully I explained that well. That's to the best of my ability. You can look into it further if you'd like, and I would suggest doing it because it's startling, the way they do this. Like I said, they just put these packages together, and then they only get 72 hours to vote on it. It's 5 days. That's a lot of pages to read. And sure, these people have staff that they can go to and be like, "Hey, look, read this," but you're not going to do that. There's other stuff you have to do. There's other, jobs, and that would be 435 members of Congress. Almost, except for the people that actually wrote this BS up. But everybody else in Congress would have to go over this, and that's an entire work week. to do that. Just to read, to see whether you agree with it or not. Sometimes they don't even give the 72 hours. Sometimes they'll wheel it out 48 hours before the vote and just say, hey, vote for this or don't vote for this. And then, like I've said before, a lot of times they'll use some of these little things, some of these appropriations that they wrote up and put into these bills against their political rivals. They'll say, oh, well, he voted to cut oil, or he voted to cut out civil liberties for this or whatever. You know, I'm just making shit up right now, but we all know that politicians do that. You can see it in their ads. They all say, such and such voted to curb your freedom of speech on social media. He's an evil person. You know, we've all seen those ads. We all know what's going on with that. And we all know it's BS. But like I said, you guys, let me know what you think. Who would you vote for Speaker of the House? I want to hear it from y'all. Who is y'all's top pick for Speaker of the House, whether they'll make it or not? Well, let's call it a poll. I want to poll my audience and see who you guys would put in as Speaker of the House. Like I said, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this story, and let me know who you would vote in as Speaker of the House if you had the power to vote for Speaker of the House. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I appreciate everybody watching, y'all. Thanks a lot. Like I said, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, because I try to cover political news, the kind of obscure stuff that's not in the mainstream. So if you want to know the ins and outs of what's going on with the government, this is your place to be. I put up videos every single day. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys, and have a good one. Be positive. Peace.